What's up, everybody? Another Wednesday means another week of X-Men 97 somehow managing to top itself in its last outstanding episode. There will be spoilers for episode 9 here in my breakdown, so you've been warned. Now let's get into the episode. This one opened up kind of assessing the situation after the damage done by Bastion in last week's episode. We see Charles in the destroyed X mansion following his return to the team. Magneto is suited up in his red and purple suit and causing a massive blackout that could permanently damage Earth. Then Bastion is back home taking care of his mother, who got the worst of Cyclops in last week's episode. At the mansion, Xavier is the one getting the worst of Scott this week as he lets out all of his anger on the professor about everything from leaving them to giving the mansion and the team to Magneto. While that's going on, Rogue wakes up down in the infirmary just as Storm, Forge, Jubilee, and Sunspot arrive at the mansion with the whole team back together following an awesome reunion for Jean and Storm. The team works up a plan, needing to take care of both Magneto and Bastion, as Blue Team will go after Magnus and Gold Team is going after Bastion. During their meeting, Charles revealed that he went to visit Sebastian, who's now Bastion, when he was a young boy because Cerebro found him, but when he visited Bastion's mother, she turned Charles away, and it kind of makes me think she wanted all this to happen and is just as psycho as her son. We then get a really good moment between Rogue and Professor X, who's just letting his students take out all their pent up anger on him, and kind of deservingly so, as a lot of it might be his fault in a way. But they can't finish their conversation as Magneto comes knocking with Asteroid M. Magnus calls to his X-Men, offering them a spot on his side as he's preparing for war against the entire world. Charles pleads with his old friend, but to the team's surprise, both Rogue and Sunspot join Magneto, seeing no way forward, doing it the Professor's way. The rest of the team is still standing by his side, though, standing with their families. We get a good scene between Scott and Nathaniel right before X-Men 97 drops from the rafters to KO the Fox X-Men with the black leather suit joke, followed by the team suiting up in their new suits that are somehow just as cool as the ones from the rest of the show. We start the fight following the Gold Team as Bastion prepares for their arrival, being 5 steps ahead of the X-Men. He's amassed a huge army of the original Sentinels, with Magneto having taken out his Prime Sentinels for the time being, and our Gold Team, they've got their hands full. They seem to have it under control, though, as they jump into action after a great moment between Jean and Storm, with Storm and Forge taking care of the Sentinels in the air as the rest of the team heads for Bastion. On the ground, we finally got to see Beast back in the field with his legendary quips as he leaps around, and we got a Hulk cameo thanks to Morph this week. We also got an epic showdown between Jean and Mr. Sinister, where it did kind of look like Sinister might just beat her this time, but Jean was relentless and she ended up defeating Mr. Sinister. Then we jumped over to the Blue Team as they tricked Rogue and Sunspot as Nightcrawler teleported them to Magneto from their ship. Another huge epic fight breaks out here in space on the asteroid between the two sides. It really doesn't make sense to me how this show is just as good as it is and continuously tops itself week after week, and the fights, they're the perfect example of that. Back on the ground, well, kind of, we see Ford shot out of the sky in the jet, and when Storm tries to give him a smooth landing, she's shot out of the sky by Sentinels, and Gold Team, they're in trouble now. Even though she beat him down, Sinister was still able to recover and get control of Cable as he shows down with Jean, overwhelming her, and she contacts Scott as their telepathic link is cut, and it seems Cable won. Up on Asteroid M, Wolverine is able to get Magneto's helmet off, which allows Charles to take over his friend's body, but with what Scott just saw from Jean on the ground, he stops the professor and as a result, frees Magneto to get his helmet onto Charles. When Magnus gets his friend dangling from his own chair, Wolverine comes in from behind, stabbing Magneto in the back, and it seems like he's wanted to do this for a while, and it also seems like the X-Men have won, but then Magneto takes control of Wolverine's adamantium and tears his body apart to close the episode. That was somehow the craziest episode of the season, and I know I say that, like, I literally say that every week. I mean, maybe not episode 4, but every other week, and I seriously mean it every week because this show is just that crazy. It's also so cool that, much like Invincible does, they pretty much just put the panel from X-Men 25 of Magneto killing Wolverine on our screens with that ending. It was incredible. This whole show is just mind-blowingly good week after week after week, and if you don't love it, I don't wanna know you. And so that'll do it for my breakdown of episode 9 from X-Men '97. There's no other way to put it than simply saying this show has been nothing less than great, and I'm anxiously awaiting the finale next week. Let me know what you thought of this episode, though, down in the comments below, and make sure you have a great day.